Well, something special today. As with us, we have the truly wonderful, deep, inspiring artist, Marianne Jansen, who has exhibited all over the world and also teaches art and creativity. And what is special today is she's actually joining us all the way from an art workshop she's giving in Sardinia. So welcome, Marianne. I was going to say, it looks a lot hotter where you are than where I am. So maybe I let you introduce yourself a little bit and tell us how things are going in Sardinia before we get started.
That's nice. Thank you very much. Yes, I'm here in Sardinia already nearly a week, 6 days. And before I was in Olbia. But now in the morning, it was already 24 degrees. So I don't know how hot it's now. It's really hot here. I'm the artist and I'm a sculptor, painter, make drawings. And I want to teach these things to people. And I'm very inspired by all people, especially. And now I came from San Pantaleo. We mix things to having a course and seeing the site and going to the beach.
What's the course on? Is it painting, sculpting?
No, it's painting and drawing.
Drawing.
So that's what I give. And it's I hope to do it twice a year. And yes, I have to get used as a Dutch person that everything goes on his Italian way, you know.
Yes.
So everybody's gone to the beach now. And only two people far away here is painting and drawing want to have their own time here. So they went back with me. And I spoke to a lot of Italian, and we were in San Pantaleo, and there on the terrace, and left behind me was a person who was drawing and painting, and he looked like Vincent van Gogh.
Oh my goodness! He's back.
Yeah, he's back, and he showed me. Oh, you do the teacher, and he showed what can you advise me? He showed me his drawings and his paintings, the little sketchbook, and I just. Marvelous, so good. And then he told me, yes, I was born on the same day that Vincent van Gogh died.
Oh my goodness, see?
Happy. I had made
Isn't that fun?
Oh,
but I mean, you sound already very full of creativity. Now, so let me ask you, stand aside just a second so that for those who are listening via YouTube, sorry to those on the podcast, but there we are, we can see behind. I mean, you look in the middle of the mountains, fully in nature. It looks like an absolutely divine place to be. So, I mean, maybe we start with that. I mean, our topic today, Marianne, is it's all about creativity, right? It's how to reveal our true creativity. And we're talking to a 50+ audience. So it's all about, discovering more and more about ourselves. So we're talking about creativity and revealing it, right? Lots of us don't know. Some are blessed like you to feel that you were probably born painting and drawing and then sculpting, and I know you've been in theater. I mean, you're a truly creative person, and you were aware of that early on in life, right? So you could focus on that. Now, for very many of us, it doesn't happen that way, and being 50+ has a good side, I find, and a bad side. As in, on the good side, you maybe have more time to go out and start discovering various art ways of expression, and on the bad side, you're probably already full of lots of limiting beliefs, as I don't know how to draw, I don't know how to sculpt, I don't know how to do all of this. So I mean, these workshops, first of all, we're talking about revealing our creativity. Would you say that it's easier to reveal our creativity if we step away from our usual world, and go on a retreat like you organize somewhere completely different?
Right, and you can't. Nobody can reach you except by telephone. I had a sentence. Indeed, are men more creative than women? And then I have to say, we are all creative, and maybe women are used to be creative, but they are not conscious of it. And being creative means being creative in everything. And you can be creative in making art, in making paintings and drawings. You make on a flat paper, you create a three-dimensional image or your thought. And I really hope to inspire people that they find their own through creativity. It's really creativity. Well, you have to find it. You have to see what your creativity is, and then you have to make a thing that is in connection with you, and find the connection and understand the connection in the material, and of course what you are doing. And when you're understanding the material, like learning to write, you learn to make creations, and it hasn't always to do about reality. I always say,
Right.
well, reality is also abstract because it's a flat paper. It's
Yes,
flat.
that's true.
You
Yeah.
can't touch it. And even if you, yeah, and I've got people who really want to be very, very realistic, but
Right.
I say they can't do it, but I find the other way around. And if liking to paint or to make watercolors or whatever, they find a way to see the colors and the lines, and then together they'll become a reality if they want to have to make that.
But so
And
would you say that everybody's creative? You know, some people sort of say, oh, you know, I'm not creative. Are we all creative?
yeah, we are all creative. And I have also all kinds of people here, very intellectual people. And I have 5 artists, 5 colleagues now who want to be teach. And for me, and because of course, you can be an inspiration. And I have my own vision and my own qualities. And I think, yes, we want to learn from her, and we'll see what we can discuss about what we make. So I have all kinds of levels. And I've got a person who's very bad in the eyesight and haven't done anything. So there are all kinds of levels here, and also all kinds of artists, of course, but also people who teach or people who are they cut into bodies, you know,
Oh,
something like
yes.
that.
Oh, I see. Right, right. Okay. So yes, really totally different.
Yeah. I really want and inspire them to get all the things loose, to
Right.
see it differently. And I manage. I
Yeah.
managed already. It's only one day left now to get them so far as they want to. But they're all very, very glad they made this course.
It's very liberating to me. And I think it sounds wonderful to have all levels, you know, to have people who've never drawn anything and maybe think that they don't know how to, but are looking for an outlet, you know, to feel happy about what they do. So, I mean, I heard you started off talking about men and women. Do you have men and women? Would you say in general, women are more creative than men?
No.
No.
No, well, they are so used to be creative that they don't realize that anymore.
Yes, maybe.
And yes, and when a man will want to be an artist, he's just, I think the differences between men and women, when I'm not correct, please tell me. Men are more like this. This is what I do, this is what I make, and I take my place in this. And
Yes.
and women is like 20 things. I'm a little bit like that too. And then they say sorry for what they make.
Yes.
I said, what?
Oh,
you have to change this mind of yours.
Yes.
See how wonderful this is. And don't ask, is it wonderful? Yes, it is. And stay with themselves. That's the most important thing. Okay, men, they do their work. They stay with themselves. They are important. But the women must feel I'm important too. This is my work. Close myself up. This is what I do, and see what I do. And I want to, of course, I want to learn. Okay, if it's good, it's bad, I can see what I can take, and I progress in my work.
Right.
Never say, okay.
There's a lot of psychology in what you're saying as well. I mean, it's also, you know, it's also daring to try something you haven't tried. But you're saying, don't start from the principle you're going to be bad at it. Don't apologize for what you do. That's your creation, right? And I mean, it's very complicated with art as well, because who decides what's right and what's wrong? Who decides, well, you know, this doesn't look like a cat, but then maybe a cat looks very different to me than it does to you or to Henk down the road, right? So it's
and I can't help them, of course, if they want to do other things or develop in some way. I say, okay, this is right what you do, but if you want to change things, I see this is not really. Yes, you can change this and you can change that with all the lines, with all the light and dark. Look what is happening. Wow, yes, I see it. Just try. Yeah. And then they see a whole more perspective in it. You can do much more than you think, but you have to see it and you have to find out what's your freedom. I think when you have a business or a profession which is very precise, your thinking is very precise. It's okay. But when I have to try to get the loose of you if you want that, that's another thing. And the nicest thing to be in a retreat is just you can't go anywhere. You're here. You have to do it. You can't.
It's quite confrontational as well. And you're alone with yourself, and you have to either be sociable and speak to other people, or take your meals alone. And you're all there about creativity. I mean, the title of the workshop, is it creativity? Is it develop skills in watercolors, or do you have a theme each time?
The theme is the landscape, but
Okay.
the landscape, and we have all kinds of techniques. First, I really know we all go to the basic. Everyone have to do the basics. If you don't want to, okay, that's all right. But if you are a starter, or we want to get into it, we see all of us. How do we make the basics of
Right.
color, the basics of lines, of light and dark? That's what the people do, and from there on, it's going to be different and other kinds of layers. But also people are our colleagues, they say, oh, you're right. You have to take these steps back to be
Right.
clear about it again. That's right.
Yes.
Take it back. Yes. And we have all kinds of discussions and we see each other's work.
Yeah.
So that's a very nice thing.
Wow. Yeah. And I think it must be very liberating as well, you know, especially if you're shy about your creation. And I mean, it is a very, I've always had a lot of admiration for artists because it is very confrontational. You're taking something inside you, and in whichever way you're showing it to others, so some of it might get lost in translation. You're trying to stay as authentic, as true to what you see in you or feel in you, to get that in whatever format out. But it is then by definition going to be judged in a way, isn't it? It's a bit, people are going to make an opinion about what they see, whether they share it or not.
But then I'm here, I'm there, the teacher, and I'm not judgeable.
Yeah.
So, and I think, of course, a judge, you see the differences in level. You see if somebody is developing in a very fast way, or maybe in a different way. I tell them, see it. And everybody's seeing it, and everybody is telling what they see, and everything's positive. Nobody says, whoa, never. So, yeah, anyway, I don't admit somebody to be negative about another to think.
Yeah, because also, I mean, this isn't the first time that I work with you, and one word that you mention a lot when we talk is authenticity. So, I mean, I see that also as non-judgment. You're saying to people, your creativity, show it with as much authenticity as you can get. You know, try and get what's inside you out in the most authentic, the purest way possible. And so there is no room for judgment because we're all unique, right? So we all have a unique authenticity.
Thank you. That's right.
But I know I just thought of it while you were talking, you know, because we do. I mean, I know exactly what you mean, that we're always saying, I'm the first. I did a drawing classroom, and of course, then I was embarrassed because I was bad at it. So I was the clown of the classroom and all that. But all of that was to hide the fact that, you know, I didn't feel I was good enough. I didn't feel I was understanding perspective well enough. And I really wanted to. I really imagined myself feeling very liberated by finding an output. I mean, I act. I act and I dance. Those are my two things. But I wanted to try and move it further, right? I really like the idea of sitting. When I see people sitting there and drawing or painting, I just... Oh, I admire that so much. But so you're saying we can all learn this, and we can all, you know, develop in our own authentic voice. Now, maybe for people who are listening, maybe we should go to, why is that important? Why is it important to reveal your true creativity?
Imagine I worked with people who couldn't talk, but only think. You couldn't talk by an attack or something.
Oh,
imagine you can't talk. You can't say something to somebody you want to say. And this is something you express in music, you express your feelings, but here you express also your feelings. But it's something, it's not permanent, but in a way you can touch the things. The paper is really there. And so in the paper, you can put your thoughts, your energy, what you want to say. It's a kind of, a drawing is a language, is making letters, making whatever you do, or lines or whatever. That's your way of saying things.
And coping with things in a way as well. You know, when you think, you know, the big masters and all of that, who go through their different periods, you know, periods where they're feeling very misunderstood or dark, and periods where they're traveling and suddenly discover, you know, sunshine or exotic places where you see that reflected in their work. It's also a form of therapy in a way. You're downloading whatever you're experiencing at that moment.
Yes, you have to handle that also. I will always say also, if I see something, I think, that can be a problem. I always start with, and maybe that sounds harsh, I say, this is a process. It comes very close. This is about learning. but it's not therapy. So it's
Yeah,
therapy
okay.
for you,
Yeah,
but not the group. And I also have one thing I thought in my mind. It also, I don't know what kind of teacher you had, but it's also to do what kind of teacher do you have. You have
true.
teachers who only want the people to make their thing,
Yeah,
or to destroy the quality, or not the talent, but the quality of people. But maybe of a teacher is not a god.
yeah,
A teacher is as human as you are. Don't look at the teacher,
yeah.
respect the teacher, but the teacher has to respect you. And there are differences between teachers.
That's very
I
true.
when Yeah,
But also education. I was just busy thinking as well, well, we're probably both from the same generation where, we were, for example, at school told to color
yeah,
within the lines, you know.
yeah,
You do what you're told. You color within the lines,
yeah,
and people sort of say to you, "Oh, that's interesting. Why do you have a black sun? The sun's supposed to be yellow or orange, not
yeah,
black." And so there is a lot of, or there was. I hope to believe that nowadays people are a lot more,
yes,
less judgmental about choices of colors or shapes, or why has that
yeah,
person got 5 legs and not 2, or that sort of thing. I mean, there are rules, of course there are rules. There are rules to do with the technique, as you said, but there's a difference between the technique that you need in order to express the creativity within, right?
yes. And the technique, the creativity, and of course, if you want to draw a human being, and it's okay, then I see lines, and one line, next second line, a parallel. And I say, well, you know what you're doing. Everything you want to make a model, and we are a model for each other here too, and we like to, but we are all three-dimensional. So you can't make one line. Where's the elbow then? Where you see where you have a cloth, it comes around of your body, and you see a line, the lines of the cloth around your body. So change, make a line in your body, make a line outside, a thick line, a thin line,
Yeah,
play with it, and then you see it's going to move. It's
yeah,
and that changes. People first like this is a leg or an arm, and another arm. No, it's not.
yes.
An arm like this is a muscle, and then comes another muscle here, and then you have your elbow, and this is different.
So
So
already in that, it's opening our eyes to a whole new dimension, right?
and they see it and they do it, and I now heard they even don't know anymore what they did on the first day.
Yeah, no, exactly. You must make, and also because it's so intense, right? You're not sort of just trying to find a half hour in your busy schedule. You're there just for that. And I think that in itself must bring you a lot closer to understanding and revealing your creativity in whichever stage it is, whether it's a creativity which has never expressed before or something that you've been working on for years. And so, I mean, to come back to why is that important? I guess it is important for us in all points of view, right? To also try different things, to see,
Yes.
we're all talking about being happy here on the planet, and these are different ways to express ourselves and to make a mark on where we are.
Yeah, yeah, yes, of course. And yeah, creativity and even dancing or whatever you have in creativity of human beings, it's essence. We
Yes.
all have done it in ages before when we were there as maybe in the Stone Age we did it already
Yes,
because
it's
it's
always, yeah, it's always existed, right?
yeah,
And as
yes,
far back as we go, cave paintings and tribal dancing and tribal singing, I mean, all of that seems to be part of human nature since the beginning.
and also people who are very, very far of it are afraid of it
Yeah,
because of to be so close to yourself, or and when you're so used to Facebook or to social media and to the computer and online lessons. I said, no, the reality is here. When you
right.
are in the reality, you see different shades. You walk and you see another thing.
Yeah,
And in my program, I have a program, okay, but at the moment I can change it. I change it because I see
right.
something else with you. So I'm very close at your skin. But you can
Yes.
trust me. I never will do something negative, but I will try to get you to teach you as much as possible if you want it. If
No,
you don't
you're
want it,
you're
okay.
wonderful. I mean, because you have so much passion for what you do and so much trust. I mean, I think, for anybody wanting to discover and try, I mean, it sounds perfect. I mean, and for people, obviously, as you say, you have your colleagues coming back to you, artists, etc. So you take them at all levels and your journey. I mean, if I were to ask you, as an artist, So two questions really about your mission. So your mission as an artist, Marianne Jansen, who has exhibitions all over and works in various medium, and then your mission as the teacher, the art teacher. What would you say you're here for?
As a teacher, as an art teacher, I really want to let people show how beautiful they are in their expression and how beautiful their expression is, and to trust their own expression. And yes, that's a tool that can be an identity even.
Yes.
So it will become an identity, because when you don't have to go to the computer, no, you can make your drawing. Or you have to have people who just, and I did it myself, if I have a phone call, I make my drawings, just thinking and unconsciously. Many people do that.
Yes.
But keep very close to yourself, to your intuition, to your feeling, to your heart. Right. It's so close to you. And what I did say already is the reality, and the myth is in the reality. It's here. And also something, I'm in Sardinia and it's beautiful, it's amazing here. But everything you can find in your own room, in a very small, it's everywhere. You can
see beauty everywhere, isn't it? It's a bit also like positive, negative, I never have anything. You can find beauty in cement. I mean, there is beauty everywhere.
True,
so everywhere. And what is your mission as an artist?
As an artist, what I've developed myself, I stayed in my own style, if you can call it style. And what I do is I want to, in a figurative way, not a realistic, but a figurative way, to show people about life, about essence, about movement, about people, about nature. What are you? Who are you? I can see, and I always say, if you see somebody walking, you know who it is, because you see the way the man or woman is walking. You see the center, you see the essence.
And you do that through drawing, through painting, through sculptures as well, right?
Well, and it is in the drawing also, it's about that moment. It will be only there. If you know that about making, maybe you know it. When you make photographs, you had to make it at that moment, because then it's gone.
It's a snapshot. It's a snapshot of that moment.
Now, otherwise it's gone. Yes. So
right. So for the people who are listening who aren't lucky enough to be there in Sardinia, we will of course mention all your details in the show notes so that people can get hold of you. And twice a year Sardinia, so that already sounds like a very good plan. But so if I were to ask you for 3 tips that the audience could take with them straight away along the topic of the importance of revealing our true creativity, what would you suggest?
The first thing, if you really want to, it can be in photographs, in making films of everybody has such a thing with them. So such an iPhone, but start. Don't think, but start. Make lines, make something, little things you think that's nice. Yes, the first thing I have to say, don't want to be a Rembrandt, don't want to be a Leonardo da Vinci. They are called their names, they became famous, but they started with themselves. Right. And they started, of course, in another age, and they were grown up with, as a little guys. They grew up with work, do this, and a lot of things, other things. So don't see it like an artist, like I never will reach it. That's also something. If you want to be a Rembrandt, you also say, I can't reach it. No, it's in your room. Everything's in your room. And you can do everything step by step.
Yes.
And doing things step by step, you develop and trust yourself. In doing things step by step, you trust yourself, you find out what it is. And if there's a teacher who will follow you, who will say, okay, you can do this, but you can also do that, just try it together. Yes, you see what happens. And then there comes trust, and then you develop, and you see that whole your world is there. Whole your creativity is there. So trust yourself, start somewhere. It doesn't matter what lines goes from the paper, you whatever, you spoil something, doesn't matter. It starts with just finding out, seeing what things happen, and it's there. You can do everything.
It's being a bit playful, right? Like a child. Children don't, when they're drawing, they don't start saying, oh, that's terrible, that's crap, and I shouldn't do that. They just draw. They just draw. They don't judge.
That's good what you say, because when somebody says, oh, it looks like a drawing from a child, I said, oh yes, do you know how difficult that is?
Yes.
You have to start there. And then when people see that, they see, of course, all these critics about our work, and then they make a lot of things and struggle, and then they get that thing they want to make. So they went through a period of, this is not good, this is good, and why is not good? I know, I go on and on and on. And then they put it aside, and it's maybe 2 or 3 minutes they have it.
Yeah.
They have the painting, they have the drawing.
Right.
And then, this is it. And I explain, that's how it works.
Yeah.
You have it from one step to the other step. No, you have to find out. You see it as a laboratory.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And it really is those two things, right? You need to have your creativity to trust it, to start, like you said, and then you need to learn the technique. You do need to learn something, right? I mean, there are not very many people who, without having taken a single lesson, can just suddenly come out and create.
You have them, okay.
Yeah, exactly. They're not the majority, right? And if we want to make progress and develop, I mean, you've been an artist all your life. How much has your work changed? Does your work change, or do you just develop different methods of expressing?
No. I developed myself. I developed my I make big drawings. I can make drawings in this minute, just like this. But as my brother said, he said, because I found in old drawings again from where I started, and I made a picture of that and sent to my brother and said, "Hey, Marianne, that's the same. How you work now? You're still working. How you work now?"
You can really recognize your style, right? You have a style which is yours, and you've maybe developed and, you know, different techniques or so, but you've kept your own style, right?
Because of course I started at Vincent van Gogh, and when starting I liked I saw Vincent van Gogh at the museum in Amsterdam, and I thought, yeah, I like that. That's nice. There's all those colors and there's those emotions and so. But I always had my own style. I started somewhere.
You have different inspirations over the years.
I inspire a lot of artists. Do my things on my own. My thing, not another one's thing.
And that's what you're teaching, right? It's all about authenticity in your creativity, right? So, I mean, you walk the talk. You're not pretending. You're not teaching. That is who you are.
I hate fake. I hate fake. I get angry.
Marianne, you're a wonderful being. And I mean, yes, I would love to come to Sardinia one day, and maybe you can cure me of my terror of expressing myself through drawing or whatever.
No problem. No
but
problem.
It sounds like a lovely thing to do anyway, to just, I always say you deserve to be heard, which is my program, but we also deserve to invest in ourselves and take ourselves away for a week in Sardinia with other people that we don't know. And I think it must be extremely enriching experience. So for today, Marianne, thank you very, very much. Enjoy your today and tomorrow then on your art workshop in Sardinia. Protect yourself from the sun. It does look extremely strong. And for the rest of you out there, it's time to trust ourselves. It's time to start and just go back to that childhood innocence and start creating, and then maybe take a course and see how we can develop that further. Thank you very much for listening in today and watching in today for the YouTube version, and speak to you soon.